cause I'm in the zone. And you know that I'm ready for the shows, how it goes.
Back in, then he's going to protect those guys. You know, he's not going to get a lot of zero press, man coverage, and put those guys and expose them. See, so if he's a front end guy, played a linebacker, you know, coaches linebackers, all that kind of stuff, then, you know, he's going to be a little more aggressive because he's not worried about getting beat back there. If somebody gets beat back there, it's not my fault. So, you know, you got to study people, and then when you watch the tape, I always look for 10 and 11, okay? They're 11th worst player and they're 10th worst player. Because there's always, it's a ranking order. It's 1 through 11. You know, they got great players, they got guys that are just guys. So, you know, you look at it, you look at the tape, and you find, you know, if you find a boundary safety that is a good tackler, but he can't run. So you formulate an offense and schemes to attack the boundary safety with your best receiver on the guy that can't run, but he's a good tackler. You know, and so that's, you know, that's how I always looked at the game. If it's a defensive end or if it's a D tackle that's, you know, they're trying to hide inside it, the two technique, then when it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, run at him. You know, attack him. Don't run at the All-American or the guy that can play on the other side of the ball. So formulate your game plan to attack their weakest players. And that's just a good mental approach to the game. And then always for your team, create some type of mentality. You know, you got to have a mentality to your football team. You got to create an edge. I mean, everybody wants to play. Everybody loves to play. Everybody wants to, you know, be noticed for playing. But you have to have an us against the world mentality when you're coaching with the team that you're coaching. Because they got players, you got players, something's got to separate them. And it usually comes down to the intangibles and the attitude. And so that's things that you can control by how you talk to your team, how you coach your team, how you prepare your team. And, you know, I was always a guy that felt like fresh legs or fast legs. So I never really overcoached and you know, worked guys in practice, because when you want them to click on game day, you got to have them. You know, thoroughbreds, they don't get out and run laps, you know, to track full speed on Wednesday and the race on Saturday. They don't do that. You know, major golfers, they'll take a week off for the major tournaments. You know, for the PGA, the Masters, all that. You won't see those guys play the week before, the ones that feel like they have a chance to win it. So they're letting their bodies settle. They're letting everything get in gear to where when it's time to peak, they can peak. So I was a track guy growing up, you know, along with playing a little football, but, you know, that's how you do it. I mean, that's why track guys, you know, they take a month off between the huge events, because you can't stress your body that long for that amount of period of time expected to respond. So you got to be smart. You got to be smart how you treat your athletes. Linemen are a little bit different. You know, skilled guys, you got to really be, you know, aware of what's going on with them. This is a little tape that I had a guy make up for me that I used to coach with. We'll see if we can get it clicking. This is kind of what we just talked about. I hope I'm not blocking anybody's view, but adapt to your personnel, attack your opponent's personnel. We'll talk about tempo, spacing. I guess I can talk about it right quick, but, you know, tempo, I mean, I've coached all the way. I've coached huddle. You know, I've slow played. I was a head coach at a high school in Georgetown in 1986, and we were bad. I mean, we were bad. I'm going to tell you, we just moved up from, back in those days, 4A to 5A, the largest division. I took the job because I'd just come from a little 2A school out in West Texas and actually did pretty well. We were 27-1-1 over 2 seasons. So I thought, hey, I can go in there and I can coach and I can make it happen. I was wrong. You know, we go in there and I think we went 3-7. But the personnel I had was nowhere equal to the other guys in that league at the time. And it was a strong league in the Austin area, Killeen, Waco, Temple, all those schools. But anyway, we had you know, I'm a tempo guy now, but back then I played what I called Waller ball, W-A-L-L-E-R, Waller, which means lay on the ground, waller around, don't move. And I tell our old lineman, we'll run a play, and then you just stay on the ground. And this is back before they had the 40-second clock, so the clock didn't start till the ref did this, and you had 25 seconds. So I just tell our old lineman, just lay on the ground. You know, our job, objective was to run one play about every 45 seconds and just milk the clock and try to win 10-7. So they'd waller around on the ground. The umpire would come in and say, "Son, are you okay?" And I'd tell them to look up and say, "Yes, sir, I'm fine." So, then they'd jump up and run the next play. But, we just milked the clock, ran the clock, kept ourselves in games, and, had a chance to go do something. Tempo now, once you get around equal athletes, guys that can play, looking for an edge, started tempo probably about 1990. Really started spread offense probably in 84, but 1990 really started tempoing. And the greatest advantage is tempo. First of all, defensive guys hate it. I don't know if there's defensive guys in there. I'm sure there is, but defensive guys want everything to be perfect. They want to look at it. They want to see it. They want every gap protected, every something on the field protected, and they want to be right on every call. Because they don't want to be embarrassed. And if you're coaching offense, your job is to embarrass the defense. That's your job. That's what you're hired to do. So you show a defense what their weaknesses are as an offensive coach. And so tempo allows you to do that, because when you tempo, you get set, you line up, and they got to get set. I mean, if they're not set, then you got to have hots and automatics that you go through. If it's 3rd and 1 or if it's 1st and 15, you're going to go to those. And so you got to keep the defense honest. It makes them spread out, makes them be more of a base look. Then it doesn't give them opportunities to disguise blitzes, and that's it's usually what gets you in trouble. So I'm a huge tempo guy. If you'll check in college right now, guys, some of the major teams that are influenced by our offense are running more plays than anybody in America, and we're talking about Tennessee, we're talking about Oklahoma, we're talking about TCU. I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there now. Syracuse was, they let that guy go. But tempo is becoming a really popular, part of football in America now, and it's very simple. The simpler you can make it as a play caller, the better it is. So everything we did through the United States and Italy are hand signals. Hand signals are universal. So if I give any hand signal like this right here, that means the same thing in Dallas, Texas, as it does in Monterrey, Mexico. So that's the greatest thing about it. I mean, football is a universal language. Everybody's taught visually, and that's how people learn. You give a 4-year-old a phone today, and he or she can do anything with it. Everybody looks. Everything's visual. So you teach visually. Spacing, of course, we've been spacing all our career. They give you 53 in the 3rd yards, use it. Spread it out. Make the defense identify themselves. And like we used to always say, don't let them act like they're covered. Either that linebacker's covering or he's not. He's either in the box or he's out of the box. In the box throw, out of the box run. It's simple. So make them show their cards. Space them out. If you get in condensed in here, then the defense can condense, and then they can disguise their blitzes, everything they're doing, hide their coverages. You spread them out, you can't hide. You can't, if you're trying to hide in an open space, you're going to be seen. I could hide behind this, but you'd still kind of know I was there. So you got to space them out and make them play. And then we emphasize on explosiveness. What we want to do is strike fast, strike early, strike hard. And then it's a lot easier to play ahead than it is from behind. So, we might win a game 49-42, but, the defense coordinator's happy because, if he can hold them 42 points, he's got a chance to win the game. So we're going to score. We're going to score, and we're going to score. And that's just the nature and the beauty of the game. So it's just kind of the way it is. I won't even talk about a game because it's still active. Coach, I'm just pushing. Oh, good, okay. Well, I don't know how to back that up, but anyway. This is kind of what we're talking about, adapting to your personnel. In 2015, when we were at Baylor, we had a guy that would have won the Heisman Trophy, number 2 in America after 8 games, and he breaks his neck. All right, so he's out. Had the next guy come in, a guy named Jarrett Stidham, who's playing for Denver right now. Another guy that was a great player broke his wrist the next week against Oklahoma State. He's out, so we had to go to third-team quarterback. He gets hurt in the last game of the year before the half, so the second half against Texas, we have to just snap balls to the guys we've never snapped to before. But fortunately, we had played well enough, long enough to get in a good bowl game. We got in the bowl game against North Carolina and did not have a quarterback. So we snapped the ball to 5 different players. We had 4 different guys complete a pass. We had 756 total yards, 645 rushing. So that's a pretty good job rushing the football, but we like to throw too. But, you have to do what you got to do to win the game. The object's win the football game. Stats don't matter. The only thing that matters is the W and L. So we adapted, and we're able to pull it off. I think there's maybe some clips on here. Okay, this is just, what you want to look at is a spread offense. You can see how spread are up top, spread down to bottom, or down below the numbers. So everybody's identified. Defensively, from an offensive standpoint, you're starting out with trips up top. So actually, this guy's kind of in a bind. I would rather see him over here. Oh, that's actually twins up top. I'm sorry, I didn't see the slot. So we got a slot that was in the backfield. That's actually a tight end. And that's a running back at QB. I'll just let it roll through. And this is just what we call the Mike scheme. So this is 5 Mike, lineman block off, right tackle, white blocks, protects like pass block, and then you just pull the backside tackle. I mean, the good part is, what makes it work is the motion, flushes this guy over. Once he steps over, he becomes an easy, check up block for the guard, and then you walk in the end zone. Here's another. You can once again check the spread. Also helps if you have a guy that's faster than theirs. That makes a difference. But when you're in college, you can recruit. When you're coaching a team in Mexico, you've signed guys, that fit your system. I want guys that can run. I learned a long time ago, you can't tackle what you can't touch. So I don't care if they're 5'8", 138. If they can run, they can play. But that's just a running back. Just once again, why they're chasing and not, staying set, keeping a full box without a QB, it's a little surprising. We'll just pause and look at it. All right, here's a conventional set. Okay, so your twins up top, trying to clear out. If it was in the open field, we'd certainly attack this guy with this loose of coverage here. But since you're down inside the 10-yard line, with the first down, it looks like, I guess that's a 1. You make 3 yards down here, it's a good deal. You miss a pass, your second goal from the 6, not so good. So right here, positive yards is the most important thing to have. So everything's dictated by the situation. Situation here is first down, inside the 10, make yards. And so what we're going to do is run a little, what we call a Zorro play here, pull the backside tight end around, block down, read the end, and really with this guy right here who was a receiver who was actually second team quarterback in his high school, but he was a kid from Refugio, Texas, down south, can run a little bit, not very tough, not very physical, but can run. He actually went to Italy with me for a year and played a little receiver over there and quarterback, but he's not a quarterback, he's a runner. But against Texas, we had the same deal because he had to come in and play. So this was his second game to ever take snaps as a QB. But he actually gave the ball. It's a read play. And so we left it open with him, let him read it. He gave the ball. He didn't get in. We ended up getting no points, ended up losing by 6 points. So we told him in this game, there's no read. You're keeping the ball. Because he can run and, we're playing to his strengths and abilities, not making him think. If you can have guys not think, they'll play faster. You make them think, they'll slow down. So it's a keep all the way. And like I said, he ain't tough, he ain't physical, but he can maneuver a little bit. So we're blocked down. There's the end chasing down. And really, the tight end ought to just turn up instead of going out, chasing out. Never chase out. But see, the defensive end crash. And so he protected his body and got in. This is another guy running back here. That's really kind of an RPO with the slot. I mean, it's ugly, but it's 8.5 yards. It's what you'll take every snap, particularly down in the red zone. This is just lining up and running the football with, a tight end, no back, which is really a great formation if you're a +1 guy running the quarterback, which I am now. Since this game, I'm 90% quarterback run guy because playing 11 on 11. If they're going to play the 11, we're going to play the 11 on offense. This is just kind of a token throw. I'm not sure why this is on here, but I guess he's showing the read down. Yeah, you see the safety come down up top. So that tells him he's got single coverage outside, so the receiver's got a two-way, sit down or go. He had loose coverage, so he set it down. Quads in the boundary. Split down here. You got an empty box. It shouldn't make it to 10 yards. I think he got about 4. But see, that's a clean box. There's nobody in there. There's 4 in there. Pulling the backside tackle, he should go vertically, pick up more yardage. But once again, just a guy that was our third team quarterback that came back from the concussion. So he's a little cautious right there, rightfully so. Okay, freeze it here. Okay. Attack your opponent's personnel. We talked about it in 2014. We were in the Cotton Bowl against Michigan State. They had the #1 ranked rushing defense in the country. We finished 603 yards passing. Okay, why did we throw the ball? Because they're going to stop the run. So you don't beat your head against the wall and say, I'm tough, I'm tough, I'm tough. You play smart. If they're good at stopping and run, throw the ball. If they got a weak pass secondary, throw it. But, so it just makes sense. We had 9 different plays, I guess, catch a pass. Roll through this. Once again, spread out. You can see they're full box all the way. Just a vertical route. Safety should look to safety. Safety ought to roll to the middle. See the quarterback's eyes. All he's got to do is make that little look, and that safety will bite and go. I see it better from this angle. But that's what with a ball fake makes it work too. I didn't know this was on here. All right, we got 2013 versus Buffalo. It's a good example of Khalil Mack, who I guess is still playing. I don't know. 5th pick overall. No other player on their defense was really very good, or not. Of course, not like him. The large majority of our game plan schemed around him. He had been averaging about, 15 tackles a game, with 7 or 8 assists, 15 steals. He's a rusher. He's an on-the-line guy. I'm sure you scouted him. Well, yeah, you're 15 picking. You're a great player. You're damn good. Okay, those guys don't exist, particularly being able to play down and up, which he could do. He could put his hand on the ground and be a difference maker. He could stand up and be a difference maker. He had 1 tackle against us. 1 tackle. And that was late in the game. We got mad because, one of our running backs wanted to run at him, so we let him. He got tackled for about a 2-yard loss. So the rest of the time, he was protected the whole game because we game planned away from him. We were not going to let him determine who won the football game. That's Khalil right there. So, he's out of the pass play, of course. Standing up. Actually, that's him right here, 46. So he's defensive end here, outside backer. And they got 7 men in the box, so you got single coverage on the perimeter. Khalil's up top, so we're going to run down below. I mean, nothing tricky. But if he's good, let him be good on somebody else. Just like don't kick or punt the ball to a guy that's a great return guy. I mean, Tyreek Hill was at Oklahoma State, and can you back that up a little, Mickey? Mick, can you back that up? Anyway, Tyreek was at Oklahoma State probably in 20.
Right there.
Please, yeah, it's perfect. 2014 or so. They played him at running back, which we were ecstatic about because he, as you know, he's one of the most dynamic guys in the NFL. But he was also a kick returner, punt returner. We punted it out of bounds every time. Okay, we pooched the kickoff every time because he catches the ball in space, he'll destroy you. So, we didn't take a chance on letting him do that. We talked about tempo just a little bit. A while ago, it all starts with the first down. So you got to get a flow going. You got to make a first down and go. You come off the sideline, you can't tempo because the clock's dead. It's going to change the possession. So you look at the defense, you see what you want to do, you see you want to go. But you hit that first down, and the ball's in play. Then that's when you go. That's when you try to get them on their heels and get them to be where you want them to be. Limits the defense calls, gives you base looks, creates tired defenses. 1,000%. Your guys get tired too, but on offense, the old linemen ain't chasing. On defense, they chase. I mean, literally, back when I coached high school, when we'd run just like a stretch one way, I'd tell our backside left guard and left tackle, don't block. Just stand there. Don't block. Let that two technique, that defensive end chase, because if they catch this guy, I'm going to get a new guy. If he gets caught by a backside two technique and defensive end, I ain't going to give him the ball. Just like I tell my quarterback on the zone read, if that defensive end tackles you, I'm getting a new you. I got to have a guy that's better than a 6'4", 248-pound defensive end runs a 4.65. My quarterback's got to be better if you're going to run the QB. If he's not, get another quarterback. So that's the deal. So let these guys get tired. And then when you want to run the power over your left guard and tackle, they're fresh. Those guys are tired. They've been chasing. Creates unsound defense. I mean, a lot of times defenses aren't set, so they'll leave open people, and you get more snaps. More opportunity to score. The more you snap the ball, if you got 84 plays versus 64, that's 20 more plays with a chance to score. This will show a little tempo. See personnel trying to get it on off the field. This is in this is 13th game of the year, so it ain't like it's first game of the year. Nobody knows what they're doing. This is in a bowl game, 13th game, and they're trying to get the right personnel on. So everybody knows about the tush push. We've been doing this in 2014, but you're catching 12, 13 guys on the field and just running the sneak. I don't know why that's on there, but anyway, it was pretty apparent it was a touchdown. Thank you, ref. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Okay, let's go to the next play. But you can see they're not set. You tempo it up there. What we've done is completed a pass down there the 1 yard line. We have a call that gives automatic quarterback sneak. Everybody gets in. We tell our guys just line up anywhere. You can have 10 on the line. You just can't have 5. So everybody gets on the line of scrimmage. This probably is going to show a view of them not set. There you go. So we're tempoed. You can tell me if the defensive line's set or not. I don't know. I like it from an offensive standpoint because it looks to me like they're looking for a signal, and that's what I'm talking about defensive coaches. They're looking at it 2nd and 6. What do you got? What hash mark? Where we're at on the field? They won't know all this and make a call. And I know it's 2nd and 6, and I know what I'm going to call because I'm going to tempo the heck out of them. And the odds are we're going to have an advantage because we're not going to wait for everybody to get set. So we're going to snap the ball and play and try to steal, 8 to 12 yards. Spacing, okay? Use the full width, put your best athletes in space, which is really critical. I mean, that doesn't look like much, but it's the most critical thing to coaching offense, in my opinion, is you take your guys that can make plays for you, and then you position them against people on the other side of the ball that can't stop them. I mean, easy turns, take your fast receiver, put him inside against the safety, put a fast guy inside as a slot or wing against a linebacker safety, and then expose the defense. So that's kind of what you do. And then you got to know your personnel. I had a receiver in 2014 actually, that, probably had 800 yards of receiving, a guy that was about 5'9", weighed 148 actually, but he could run. He was fast. But we went back and watched the tape from the year before on every play, and every time he missed the ball, it was inside the hashes. Okay, every time he had a drop, he had about 6 drops, were inside the hash. So the next year I said, we're never going to throw him the ball in there because he's little, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's got guys trying to kill him. He comes in there. So I said, we're not going to throw him the ball inside the hash. His name was Tevin Reese. We kept everything outside the hash. He had the most yards per catch in the nation. And I think his senior year, he weighed about 157, 58. Got drafted by San Diego late, 6th round, but still got drafted. But never had to drop. But we never threw him inside. We let him use his speed, get vertically, and go. Make the defense declare what they're trying to do. Overhang defenders, we talked about that. You're either covering or you're not. So you're reading a nickel, you're reading a willie, you're reading maybe a safety that comes down, please. I like safeties that can tackle because normally that means they can't run. Create a clean picture for your QB, which is critical. All right? I mean, your QB's got to think like you. It's like I always tell them, the most important ability of a QB is predictability. It ain't running, it ain't throwing, it ain't looking good in your uniform, it's not being a great leader. It's I know what's going to happen before it ever happens. All right? It's predictability. I got to know that you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. So if I call a play, I got to know you're thinking the very same way I'm thinking. So you got to have a guy right there that you can live with and trust. And they got to protect the football. I mean, that's just the most important factor of that position. They have to protect the ball for you. So we'll see what we got here on spacing. This is against Texas Tech and Jerry World, where the Cowboys play. It's really not great spacing. I think what they're trying to show here is that, the inside backer or the overhang nickel, maybe in this case, I don't know if they're 3 or 4 man. Yeah, see, he's in tight. So that's the guy we're looking at. If he's in trying to cheat the box, then we're gonna flip it out and play. That's just an automatic. We got a run play call inside QBC's the outside backer cheating down with space. We're gonna throw the ball. Here we are, trips at the bottom to the field, uncovered inside. That's just run play call. This against Kansas State, really good football team. I wish I could run this back, but I can't. I don't think it's going to show it again. But that's another deal. You can see it again. This same guy. I mean, he's not set, he's not set. Linebacker looking, safety looking, to the sideline, corner looking. So, you know, and this is at the plus 25. You know, and as soon as it makes him move backwards, we're snapping the ball. You know, get out of the way and let us play ball. Nobody came to watch you. Five-man box, backers out because we've been hurting them. Hand the ball, pick up 10. Okay, so he's got an RPO right there. Same thing, tempo again, defense not set. Backers in the box. And really this is a little dicey down here in the red zone because the safety will collect in a hurry, which he does. But, you know, safeties mostly aren't great tacklers in space. They like to have that boundary protecting them. Here's a stack. This is just, you know, gold stack. I like the box right here initially because this guy's so far out. This guy's out. Now he could cheat, you know, safety's at about 8.5. You could actually throw it up top and be okay. If this guy walked down a little bit, you throw it down here, be okay. I don't know what's going to happen, but I like to run. So we'll see. He threw it up top, which that's fine. You're going to pick up 4 to 6 yards. The box is probably pretty, you know, he's making about the same thing if he hands the ball. The reason he threw it up top is because the corner was 4 more off and the safety was at depth. Same thing again, uncovered. So we're tempoing. Got a run called up front, got an inside receiver, still 4 yards. All right, create explosives. You can't score if you're not trying. You know, that's something we've always said since day one. I mean, if you ain't trying to score, you're not going to score. We're going to try to score. You know, they put the ball in our hands. What are you going to do with it? You got to score. You're on defense, you got to stop them. You're on special teams, you got to play smart. Everybody's got a job to do. So don't say, Coach, we need to slow it down so we can collect ourselves defensively. Now, if you got a 14-point lead with 8 minutes left and you've got the ball in your hands, because it's really never a 14-point lead or 2-score lead till you have the football. So if you got a 2-score lead with the ball, you know, inside of 7 or 8 minutes, fourth quarter, then you can be a little bit slower and field position and dictate, you know, what you're doing at that time. Be aggressive down the field, dictates what the defense coordinator can comfortably do and puts a stress on him. No doubt about that. Nobody likes the ball getting thrown over the top of them. And being aggressive down the field tremendously benefits your run game. I think we all know that, because if they get exposed here, then they're going to loosen, and then they're going to get these hole players to loosen a little bit, which is going to create some run lanes for you. But you got it. If you tempo and if you throw deep, you got to live with 3rd and 10s. Okay, you just got to live with it. You're going to have 3rd and longs. Okay, because you throw them first down, 2nd and 10, you miss. You run a short, you know, you try to pick up 4 yards on 2nd, you get 1, it's 3rd and 9. You got to live with those plays. You got to understand that you better be dang good on 3rd down. You better be really good in the red zone if you want to win. This is just a 3rd level RPO fade against Tech. Here's the guy you're keying. Throw it up and he ought to score. Now he can't run. This guy can't run, but you know, it's nothing wrong with the 85-yard play. But it's just, this was my favorite guy I ever coached. One of them, he's 6'7", 425 pounds. And that's being honest. That's not coach talk. Okay, this is kind of the same look. Kind of see what we're looking at here. Okay, so you got a run play called up front. QB's eyes, keying up top, 3rd level. 3rd level's back end guys. So you got RPOs off first level, second level, third level. And safety low, I throw. It's pretty simple. But you got to live with it. You got to have good people. Everything's protected to the twins. So pre-snap, probably looking up top, should be a hit. Just because if your receiver's not better than that cornerback, you need to get another receiver. There's very few DBs or corners or safeties that can cover elite receivers. And that's really good coverage. It's just a difference in, an offensive guy and a defensive guy. This is against Iowa State, which is a really sound football team, but they're a run-stop team all the way. So we got about 3 options here for the quarterback. He can throw the flare, hand the ball. This safety's coming down to stop the run, so you throw to the area that he vacated. So we have the receiver up top's got automatic. He's got a 3-choice route. He can go sit, he can go vertical, he can go post. And what he's doing is just, as soon as the ball is snapped, he's keying what's going on defensively and then reacting to what they do on defense. Same thing, very same thing, different side, same look. Eyes down, head down, ball. Safety vacates, throw it where they're not. It's pretty simple. How are we on time, Mickey? We good on time? No, I think that may be on.
3 minutes?
Yeah, is that?
We want to start with the questions.
Yes, that's, let me make sure I covered everything. Yeah, I think, we got about 10 minutes for questions. But I mentioned the +1 a while ago with the QB. I've always liked an athletic quarterback over a stoic quarterback, which a lot of great ones in the NFL, a lot of great ones play the game. But it just kind of depends on, what your system is and what you're doing. If you're trying to develop a guy for the league, 15 years ago, you want a guy that's 6'5", weighs, 243, got a great arm, great football IQ. Today's game, you look at Kyler Murray, you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at Baker Mayfield. I'm sure I'm leaving 5 out. I don't watch a huge ton of NFL ball, but those guys are everywhere. So it's flipped, and I had a great one for 4 years with Robert Griffin, a great run pass guy that could do it all. And actually, I didn't let him run. I held him back running in 2011 just because I knew he had a chance to really have a great year and go to the league. I want to protect him. He was going to run on his own, which I call it the X factor. So if he's in the pocket, breaks down, he's gone. So I didn't have to call run plays for him. When we got farther along, 2015, 16, over in Italy, it's just such an advantage. And so really what I kind of got to is open box or open set with, no back and a quarterback. And then you do all your RPOs, you do all your stuff. You +1, you'll get a soft box, you'll get a good look. If the guy can throw it from here to that wall, then you can be productive. Because the key thing for a QB, that's a run guy, is getting the ball out of his hands. Simplify the reads, let him know exactly what he's looking at, make sure the receivers understand opens and hots, and then, be productive. Because I used to tell them, be needy, not greedy. If you can make 3 to 5 yards, take it. Take the check down, take the throw down. Don't try to, pop it over the top every time. If you're dealing with a QB, that's a +1 guy, because those guys have to be effective. Because if you're getting a 3rd and 4, then you're going to make the first down. Okay, I don't care if it's on your 1 or their 5. You're going to make the first down because you got a guy that can run. You can +1 them. You can tempo an open set, and you can get a box that you like, or you can get an upcoming receiver. Anyway, right quickly, a few questions. I hope the barrier with the language hadn't been too big of an issue. Actually, when I was in Italy, it's strange, but everybody kind of understood English, so I may have talked too fast. I hope I haven't for the translator back there, but I kind of like football, so I guess you get to talk. Does anybody have a question or two? I'm a little scared of the Mexico City traffic. I got to get back to the airport here in a little bitty. Last night's it's pretty strange. Is that? Oh, okay.
No. For you.
Well, you can tell me.
Okay.
Just tell me.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Cuando corres, when you run in third level RPOs,
Mm-hmm.
I get you have a wrong ball.
Exactly.
Right? So how you stop the limit to go
I
to
know.
second level?
I know the question. Yeah. That's.
Third level, the road
Yeah.
starts no longer.
Do you coach O-line?
What?
Do you coach O-line?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that's a great question. We have a call that's tagged to the RPO, so it might be like, slot 5, and I'm not going to give the signals, and then stay.
Okay.
Okay. So stay would mean they're going to block, they're going to run the play, but once they get a yard and a half past the line of scrimmage, they stop. They stay, because if they're past the line of scrimmage this far and the ball's coming, we're going to make yards. Okay, but we don't want them stopping on the line of scrimmage. We want them pressing at least a yard and a half, maybe 2. I mean, they'll let you honestly get away with 3, but you don't want to press it. So we just call, and we try to pull tackles instead of guards. And when you combo up to a backer, those guys that are comboing up, they just got to feel it, and then they got to react off the backer that they're comboing to. But you can't climb, and if you feel like you're in no man's land, fall down. Okay, tell them to fall down, because if they feel like they're 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, and what the heck, you don't just fall down. And then that umpire, he's looking around here, he ain't looking there. They're thinking that guy's hurt. So I mean, a lot of times he can get it, it'll happen. But it's a real fine line if you're throwing the ball down the field. Short passes, no problem. Yeah, it's a good question. Yes, sir. But yes, please.
Can you give us more example about the cover the spacing? What do you exactly refer? What is the spacing that you have to cover?
You're talking about how those guys know where to line up when they're spacing?
Yes.
Okay. If you're tempo, and we tempo, we did not tell a guy, okay, you're a yard and a half outside the bottom of the numbers. That's your alignment point, or you're on the hash. What we tell them is get a yard and a half from the sideline. So run out there, get set, get a yard and a half from the sideline. Okay? And that's your point. Now the guys inside, that are inside receivers, we'd let them vary with left hash, right hash. So left hash, you got trips, that guy's wide. If you're going trips in the boundary, left hash, then he scoots out a little bit. So that those guys got to have a pretty good football IQ. But the great thing about receivers is they don't want to get hit. So if all the mean guys are inside here, if you give them a chance or choice to get out there. So they'll create spacing on their own. But if you're going to tempo, now first downs, after change of possession, incomplete pass, that's when you can do your motions and do your sets and do all that. But if you're tempo and spacing, get lined up, get set, and then get open. Okay? So you can't overrule it. Can't give them too many rules. Is that okay? Coach?
Yeah, putting a roster together, where do you start? So obviously that was the quarterback, but how are you
Wait, I will give you. Coach,
Oh yeah.
Wait,
because
It's a good
When
one.
you're putting a roster together, what's your emphasis? Where do you start and how do you construct it in order of priority?
I mean, that's a great question, Coach. And, you know, the obvious, if you're playing junior high football, 7th grade B team, or you're the Kansas City Chiefs, it's a quarterback. You have to have a QB. You know, you got to have a guy that can win games for you and lead and make great decisions. Now, from that point, you know, honestly, I went O-line, D-line, you know, because if you're good up front on either side of the ball, it's just like Texas is playing in the Big 12 championship game today, not because of their offense, because of their D-line. I mean, they're so good up front defensively that you just cannot run the ball on them, which, you know, puts you in a bind offensively because you try to create runs and do all this and force it, you're second and 8, you know, and so it makes you throw the ball, and then, you know, if you do this enough, some good's going to happen, some bad's going to happen. So to answer your question, QB, O-line, D-line, I think, you know, you hate to say it, but there's a bunch of people that can play receiver. You know, those guys are everywhere because every kid grows up there, watches football and wants to be a receiver or QB. You got to find some defensive guys that are talented enough to allow you to do some man coverage defensively where you can pressure a QB. And then running backs are, as you know, being in the NFL, I mean, they're not high draft choices. I mean, every 4 years, some guy will come along like Adrian Peterson or somebody that's just a difference maker at that position. But quarterback, O-line, D-line. Yes, sir. Hey, you guys have been awesome. I'm going to tell you, I'm really excited about the 2024 league. I feel bad my Cancun boys are taking notes on me and stuff, so I may have to change a little before we play them, and I will. That's the greatest thing about offense is that, you know, you don't have to be predictable. You can change, you know, and that's really a great thing about football. You know, just creating the plays kind of like writing a song and painting a vision that you do with a song. You know, you create something that's never been there before. So we'll be different, and you know, we'll be able to do some things that, and you know, you create tendencies, set up plays anyway. So we'll be predictably unpredictable. But I appreciate y'all. I've had fun. Anytime I get to talk football, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been in and out the studio like a student though, working on a movement, yeah, I'll do it cause I'm in the zone, and you know that I'm ready for the shows, how it goes.